For those of you who do not know much about the Alliance, we are the trade body that represents the independent agencies, and therefore we are there to give voice for independent agencies and everybody who works in them. So we are a people first organisation. Now, our In the Hot Seat series is an opportunity for us to question and enjoy the company of key people within our industry, from key supporters of our industry. And over the last 9 months, we've had a number of the platforms, including Google, LinkedIn, Facebook, and therefore it seemed remiss for us not to have the #1 downloaded platform of them all, Tick-Tock, as one of our guests. So it's my pleasure to hand over to Daniel Roby, who is CEO of entertainment and digital agency ThinkJam, and he's also CEO of software company Remake, which is a remarkable video software business, to pose the questions and put Tick-Tock in the hot seat. So I'm going to now shut up, and I'm going to hand everything over to Daniel. So over to you, Daniel.
Thanks, Clive. Thanks for the introduction. Thanks for allowing me to host this. I think ThinkJam's been very involved with Tick-Tock since they moved over to Europe 3 years ago, and we've done a lot of work with you guys, and I'm delighted to have Trevor and Joni with me today. I guess if you've not heard of Tick-Tock, then it's probably in the wrong session. And if you're not on Tick-Tock, I guess you need to be on Tick-Tock by the end of this. As you said, Clive, Tick-Tock was crowned the most downloaded app last month with 3 billion people installing the app. Today, we're going to dig into Tick-Tock, understanding your priority, their priority for creators, challenging a little on where the agencies sit versus creators and some of the bigger agencies. And of course, I'm hoping we get into the weeds on how Tick-Tock can help us independent agencies do better work, more creativity, and generate more innovation and ideas with our clients. Just to start, I'm going to just introduce Trevor and Joni. So Trevor Johnson. Trevor's the head of marketing, global business solutions for Europe, leading a function that consists of creative lab, B2B marketing and comms, brand strategy, and creator monetization. I don't know how you found the time to sit with us today with all of that lot to look after, but thank you for joining us. Trevor recently joined Tick-Tock from Facebook and Instagram, which he joined in 2008 as one of Facebook's first employees outside of the US. He was most recently director of Instagram EMEA, held a number of senior strategic and partnership roles during his time at Facebook, which I was baffled to learn included establishing 14 offices around the globe. Then moving to Facebook's global agency partnership function based in New York, managing the strategic and global relationships between Facebook and some of the largest media and creative agencies. We've also got, I'm really pleased to say, Joni Morris. Joni is head of UK agency partnerships at Tick-Tock. Joni leads a dynamic team who serve the advertising industry across media, creative, performance, and digital agencies. So I guess you're the person we're going to start to connect with and talk to and be friends with by the end of this session. Before joining Tick-Tock, Joni was head of digital at Hearst UK, where she played a key role in driving their digital transformation. And prior to that, she was head of agency sales at AOL. And also, as I understand it, you've had 8 years in my world with 8 years of cinema under your belt. Can't thank you both enough for being here. I think this is going to be a pretty cool session, and I'm hoping we can get into the weeds. Before we dive in to how we work and how agencies work, let's have a little look at Tick-Tock and I guess some of the benefits of Tick-Tock and where you're working with clients and where you're working with brands and which brands are smashing it, and obviously creator first platform. We've all heard, don't make ads, don't make TikToks, which I think is, say we all agree, is amazing marketing. You've been pushing new strategies recently with education, entrepreneurial activity, talent finding, which pops up in my discovery all the time, loads on sport. We all saw the football in the summer and so much more. How are you currently supporting the community, and what's your big focus at the moment?
I suppose I can take that. Yeah, I can start there. So I suppose it's worth starting about why we think that TikTok is such a differentiated and amazing, creative, joyful, authentic platform that it is, right? So there's a number of things. First of all, we talk about this TikTok just fulfilling this core human need, which is about being seen and heard and understood. And we think that you can do that in a way that doesn't exist elsewhere. If you think about the storytelling and the story that exists on the platform, which has had such a positive impact on creativity and brands and people and building a community, and the experience when you just open that app is just different to anything else, right? Not only is it sound on and it's creator led and cuts and edits and trend setting. It's just this really visceral thing that exists within this app and explodes out the app and exists elsewhere. So we talk a lot about what starts on TikTok doesn't stay on TikTok, and you can't listen to the radio, you can't chart, you can't go into a bookstore. I've seen recently, you can't go into a supermarket without seeing things influenced by the trends that have been ignited on TikTok. I'm sure Joni will come to talk about some of the examples a little bit later, but we're talking about like feta cheese, the feta pasta phenomenon, BookTok, the pink drink that's existed in other markets. When you think about, I'm a massive drill fan, the first drill #1, which is optimized for TikTok, and then it's gone into #1 in the charts, the first drill track. All of those things are things that have started on TikTok because it just has this way of creativity and authenticity and joy and storytelling, and also putting creators at the core. So 93% of users don't create or post. It's that real ecosystem and real community of different users that are able to tell their stories in very different ways, and it could be their stories or brand stories. So I just want to give a really quick summary of why we think that TikTok as a platform just feels like a very different and special place to say others. And we also talk about it as being an entertainment platform because the majority of users say they go onto TikTok to be entertained. It doesn't have the same dynamics of where you may get what you may have on other social platforms. There's no need to chase likes. The For You page knows what you want to see based on very limited information of your consumption. It doesn't ask any of those details that other platforms have, and it is able to serve you up this stream of amazing content that it knows you like. But there's also this serendipity and spontaneity of some of the left field content that it may throw in to see if you like it, and then actually sometimes you do, and it's stuff that you wouldn't have known you've seen before. So that's why we think TikTok is such a special platform. When we think about what you talked about, don't make ads, make TikToks, which ties into our Facebook. Yeah, I was there for like 12 years. I still can't shake it 2 years later.
We'll edit that out.
Just let it out. We edit it out. So when you think about TikTok for business, the provocation when we first launched was don't make ads, make TikTok. So that's not a mandate, but it's a way to get brands to think about TikTok in a very different way. Taking what you do outside of TikTok and putting it onto TikTok probably won't work, but we want people to be thinking about TikTok in a way that is allowing brands to not only unleash their creative side, but manifest themselves in a very different way. Some of the early brands and some of the verticals that are finding great success are some of the ones that you wouldn't necessarily think would be. So thinking about the fashion and luxury, the Gucci's, the Balenciagas are coming on, and they're able to manifest themselves in a very different way. So for instance, Gucci will run their influencer campaign on other platforms, and it will be a very beautifully curated shot and a close-up shot of the model and the product, and it will be great and it'll work on that platform. But on our platform, it'll be a sound-on video where you may not even see the product, and you may see a different context of the model. They may be with their family and friends. They may be singing and dancing. They may be having joy and being fun. But it allows that brand to really take advantage of the mindset that people are in our platform, and really stretch and expand the way that they're able to tell their story on our platform than they do elsewhere. And for the likes of the fashion and luxury brands to start to see success in our platform. That should give you some idea of how amazing it is that those really great storytellers are able to tell their stories in different ways on our platform. And yeah, don't make ads, make TikToks it's not a mandate. It was a way for us to launch a proposition and get people to instantly think about ourselves in a different way. But if you are going to be jumping into TikTok and you do want to find brand success, then you leveraging all the things I've spoken about: sound on, creative, joyful, fun, ultimately leading with creators a lot of the time. Those are the things you need to be thinking about. And that's what a lot of the conversations that we're having with brands and agencies. It's how can they do that on our platform? What stories can they tell? How can they manifest themselves in the right way? What does great creativity mean for them? And also it has been a little bit of a barrier for brands to jump on, but when people understand that TikTok could mean anything from a local hairdresser putting a dog in a barber's chair and just having a 15-second GIF that shows that's really funny, but it's very, very simple, and SMEs, SMBs can use that, right through to the JD Sports that are commissioning bespoke tracks with Lady Leisha and spending tons on creators to tell their stories in order to drive commerce, and everything else in between. That is what TikToks are, and so I don't want people to think that that is a barrier to success. It's everything else in between, as long as you know the story you want to tell, and creativity, joy, and sounds at the front of that.
And you said, I thought I knew quite a lot of stats about TikTok, but I think you just said I didn't know, 93% of people on TikTok don't post. So
yeah, it's very much it's a creator-led platform, right? The creators are the lifeblood of TikTok, right? Every day, millions of users across the globe, they open up the app to see videos or music or trends that are ignited and inspired by people that are creating this great, amazing content. And creators, the amazing thing about TikTok is that we have such a differentiated, diverse set of creators that are telling completely different stories from all backgrounds, and they come together on this one platform to express themselves. They make us laugh, they inspire us, they make us cry. I'm thinking about the NHS nurses back in the peak of COVID that were having horrendous days, but were using TikTok to tell these really uplifting, engaging stories about what was happening. So it was some really horrible stuff, but it was just done in such a human, authentic way on our platform. And some of them were singing and dancing as a way just to express some release and relief. So it's creators that are really the lifeblood of what we facilitate in our platform. And to recognise those efforts, we're investing heavily in creators, and we'll probably talk about that a little bit later. But we have our European Creator Fund, and we're committed to investing about $300 million over the next 3 years to reward creator talent. But also, as you said, as part of my team, an aspect of that is marrying creators and brands to come together to tell their stories on the platform in very compelling ways. And we want to make sure that we continue to bring on creators and incentivize creators to tell their stories and to make money, and that brands are using creators to tell those stories.
And you've got a big part of that is the creator marketplace, which I guess is a big mechanic that allows you to connect those dots between your creators and brands.
Yeah, so there's three. So when we're thinking about creators, there's three channels of which we're investing in to really accelerate that. The first is our creator marketplace, which is a tool where the long tail, medium to long tail of creators can come on, register themselves on the creator marketplace, and brands can come on and search for creators that they could utilize to tell their stories. They can commission them, they can brief them through this tool, and the future evolutions of that will be they'll be able to sign off creative and ultimately buy media to support the creativity that or the campaigns that have been developed by the creator and the brand. So that's a whole service self-service tool. That's the creator marketplace. The second way that we're helping creators is by partnering with influencer agencies, right? So there's a ton of influencer agencies that we have formal partnerships with, that are managing the creators, more mid to bigger creators, and then introducing them to brands and working with us to come up with those ideas and coming up with the creative and ultimately the asset that's going to be published onto our platform that's then to be amplified through media through the brands. So that's influencer agencies. Building that ecosystem is going to be really important. And then the last thing is the team that currently exists internally, which is a white glove service where for brands that have JBPs with us, joint business plans or partnerships with us that are investing significant funds, then we want to make sure that we have a little bit more of a hand-holding relationship with those brands, with our teams and with the creator, because that's significant amounts of money and investment. So those three things are how we're targeting making sure that we are able to utilize creators as an important part of brands telling their story on our platform.
And just, I guess, for broad brushstrokes, what is the focus from TikTok's position at the moment in, the entertainment world's changing, streaming world's changing, short form content is changing. What is TikTok's sort of focus and lane? How do you position that?
Yeah, so we are a video entertainment platform. So entertainment by video is core to the everyday culture experience, right? Whether you're streaming on Netflix or you're talking to families via Zoom, all of video and video entertainment is critical to that. And we think that TikTok is the heart of that shift, right? So you'll hear us talking more and more about us being an entertainment platform. For those in the UK, you would have seen us partner with Ant and Dec and there's a TV ads where we are showing the evolution of entertainment, which then leads into TikTok being an entertainment platform. We know the reasons why the primary reason why people are using TikTok is to be entertained. But there's also an element of education and inspiration that happens with all that, right? And on commerce as well, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later. So when we think about what we are focusing on, it's how we can continue to be a really important part in terms of education, but also at the heart of culture, at the heart of trend setting. Because I'll go right back to the very beginning, that what starts on TikTok doesn't stay on TikTok, and it's impacting things that you see and do and hear way outside of the app. And we think we can continue to do that at a great scale. Yeah.
It is amazing that for me personally, with what we do, where you position yourself as an entertainment agency versus you haven't used the word social network, I think is a really important shift that I guess we all have to recognize.
Yeah, and it's probably important to cover off on that, because people think social and entertainment are symbiotic. They're not completely separated. So you will see elements of sociability at TikTok, but we're not a social network. The things that exist on social platforms don't exist on us. But if you think about most social discussions about entertainment, and most of entertainment is influenced by social aspects or social discussions. So that they are symbiotic. Being able to feature your friends or be influenced by your friends and impacted by your friends is an important part of your entertainment choices. So there will be elements of the service that will be a little bit social, but it's not a social network, because it doesn't have the same. There are no likes. You don't have to follow people. You're not necessarily connected to your friends. Yeah. All of the dimensions that exist in social networks don't really exist on TikTok. But we realise that social is a core part of entertainment.
Yeah, and in terms of, I guess we talked. The core of TikTok is your creator community. We'll come on to where the independent agencies fit in, but looking at the brands that are on TikTok and what they're doing, how you support them and how you drive value. How are brands using TikTok? I mean, there's awareness and then there's sales, right? I've seen things recently with Puma where they've got a really smart integrated store, and I can buy my trainers after I've looked at their TikToks. What are you doing to support brands to drive sales and build their communities? And what tools are you rolling out to power that authentically?
Yeah, I'll let Jodie dive into into the specifics, because obviously that's what she does. But ultimately, brands are coming here to drive business results through the funnel, right? I think we're doing a very good job of some of the upper funnel metrics. People are testing, learning, and seeing that they are able to drive some of those brand metrics, particularly when they start to leverage the fact that they can cause offline activity based on their online or their in-app activity. But people are wanting to ultimately sell product. And if you think about commerce is something we're investing significantly in. It's going to be a huge part of our proposition very, very quickly. We've launched a number of propositions. We've got Tick-Tock Shop here in the UK, but we also have dynamic product ads. We call them dynamic showcase ads. We have H5 pages, which I think you just described, where you can build experiences, your own experiences within the TikTok app and drive people there. We have testing out social shopping. So that QVC within TikTok, where creators can start to make money, right? They can start to sell product using live in real time. And so we are starting to see brands seeing TikTok as not just a place where they can drive their upper funnel metrics, but it's a place where they're driving business results, which is ultimately making sales. And if you look at TikTok Made Me Buy It, the hashtag there, which has had billions of interactions and billions of views, that just goes to show that if you get it right, and if you deliver a piece of content to the right person at the right time, it can actually sell product. And we're starting to see at scale that TikTok Made Me Buy It is a genuine consumer behavior, right? The amount of times that you open up TikTok, and I always say that two things. One is TikTok is this amazing discovery platform, right? You never know what you're going to get. You wanted your way to be discovered. And secondly is that you don't necessarily go to TikTok to buy, but you buy on TikTok, right? The amount of times that you will be scrolling through your feed and you'll see something, and if you'll either be inspired to either go offline and buy it, or if it's served to you in a way that you can fulfill and pay in a very seamless way, you're actually going to do it. The amount of spontaneous purchases that happen at scale, it's like the new mall, right? It's the new shopping center, where you're just walking around and things will be in the window and you go, oh, I like that. You go in and buy it. That's TikTok. So we're starting to see brands taking that seriously and not seeing TikTok as just this entertainment upper funnel platform, that it's a genuine business platform that they can drive business results if they utilize all the things we've talked about. And TikTok Made Me Buy It is just the testament to us being able to execute and deliver on that. But I'll let Joni talk about some more of the ways that we're working with brands, because that's what she's there to do. That's what she does.
I was going to say before Joni,
much better than I do.
I was just going to say before Joni talks about the brands, TikTok Made Me Buy It kills me. My son is on TikTok, and God knows what he's bought for Amazon for his room, based on what he's seen on TikTok. It's remarkable. I don't know what deals you've got going on with Amazon at the moment, but it's an amazing hashtag for sure. Serious matters, Joni. TikTok and brands and commerce and how you're powering them.
Yeah, hi everyone. Nice to join. I mean, it's really important to talk about how independent agencies can play a huge role for us with these types of activations. Trevor's just pointed out some of the products that we have, and actually what's really exciting is independent agencies' clients have been some of the first to trial these products. So, for example, when we launched lead generation opportunities, Check a Trade via Brain Labs was one of the first to test that product. Diesel were one of the first clients through Forward PMX to try collection ads, and they're now using dynamic showcase ads as well. So we're working really, really closely with independent agencies and your clients to really drive those lower funnel metrics. We have a whole suite of e-commerce products, and that's one of the unique opportunities that we have. Our product suite is constantly evolving, and independent agencies and braver clients who can be a bit more entrepreneurial and can move faster, that's where the real opportunity is for us to do great work in that space. So there's loads going on in that particular area, and I'll touch on a couple of examples a bit later.
And I don't know, and Spark Ads, which is obviously you've launched that globally quite recently. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's again another opportunity. We work with brands to really help them launch their organic presence on the platform. You know, that's where there's a massive opportunity. And by using Spark Ads, it just means that you can reach a much, much broader, more targeted audience. And one of the cases that I'm going to show you later, Little Moons, that was a combination of Spark Ads and one particular premium product. And the sales results that can drive is huge. So the thing that's really exciting is, as Trevor said, there's opportunities for those kind of really big integrated brand campaigns, which, you know, do upper funnel and lower funnel. But there's a real opportunity of tactical opportunities with TikTok that I think that, you know, that's my team's goal, is to do a better job of educating agencies and clients in terms of how quickly our offering and proposition is developing, both from a reserve point of view and from a self-serve point of view.
Yeah, so I guess digging into that, obviously looking at the creator community are well looked after, and there's a big fund to support them, and they're clearly crucial. I'm still baffled by the fact that there's only 7% who are posting, but we'll pick that up in session 2 maybe.
Yeah.
Then you've obviously got all of your tools. We've all read, as independent agencies do, you know, the WPP deal you did recently. There's been a few, and you read words like exclusivity and early access and advertising, you know, access to some of your advertising products and integration to apps. You know, where do we independent agencies get that opportunity or that presence, that access?
And I think it's, you know, I really want to stress today the importance of the independent agencies to my role and for me to be successful in my role. There's a number of different ways in which we choose to engage with independent agencies, and that's because we recognise how important they are in a number of different areas. So previously, I touched on the fact that you guys are the most receptive when it comes to new products. And, you know, having first look at something doesn't mean that you're the first to do it. And 9 times out of 10, when we roll these products out, it's independent agency clients that are prepared to move quickly and trial and test these products. And that's critically important to TikTok's development as well. So it means that we develop a partnership over time with you guys, which is, you know, works for both parties. The key for us is to make sure that we're having the right conversation. So if I just show you a couple of slides of some great work, and these are only 2 examples. I'm going to tell you about an event in a minute that I want all of you to come to, where you'll see tons of examples, but this is just a couple of examples. Right, can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can. We can't see anyone else, so.
Fabulous. So Little Moons, this is a brilliant example of work we did. This was with Media Hubs. So at the beginning of the year, I certainly hadn't heard of Little Moons. It was a little known brand that were looking to use TikTok to really kind of launch their profile in the UK. So they came up with some amazing organic content. I strongly recommend everybody goes onto TikTok and has a look at it. And we could see that it was rapidly getting traction, actually. There was a real trend starting to build around their organic content. So we worked with Media Hub to boost that organic content. And we also ran a 1-day max, which is where you're the first video to appear in the For You feed. And I mean, the results of this campaign were astonishing. It was sold out everywhere. You talk about your son and the things that he's looking at in his bedroom. Everyone was in this kind of mad frenzy going to supermarkets, trying to try these Little Moon mochi ice creams. And I mean, as you can see from the stats there, their sales were up 1,300%. And that is a really small, simple, but hugely effective campaign. And that's where it's really about us opening those conversations and understanding as much as we can what your clients are trying to achieve, because that was a really simple execution. It was a 1-day campaign, and look at the impact that it had. If I then go to the higher end of the scale, because let's not pretend that you guys only have... Oh,
grab it. Scan it. Wait 5 minutes. Bite it. Squish it. Stretch it. Love it.
Oh, God, it's so good.
Not my cup of tea, but it sold out everywhere. Apparently, they're lovely. As I was saying, let's not pretend you guys don't ever have big budgets. Like one of the earliest successes for TikTok, and we're forever thankful for Byte and the partnership that we have with them and how well we worked with them. ASOS for the last couple of years has been celebrated as a brand that has really embraced all of the unique elements of TikTok. So the campaign that I'm going to show you in a second was called ASOS. So they developed a song and a sound that was specific to the platform. This coincided from when I started at TikTok, and I didn't stop singing it, and my kids now hate the noise, so hopefully they won't hear me playing this, but it's really addictive. And it's a perfect example of showing how addictive and repetitive sound is. So they got a bespoke sound for the campaign. They used a really wide range of creators. They used 25 different creators, and that is huge to have an impact and really helps you hit a wide, diverse audience. And then the third thing they did, which is really important if you want audiences to participate and you want users to get involved, is they had a really cool branded effect. People love messing about with the functionality on TikTok. So if you have a branded effect that enables them to do something really cool, you'll see the participation levels go right up. So boring stats on the side, but this had 2.3 billion views. It starts to show the scale that you can drive on ad campaigns, which is just not heard of before. There were just under 500,000 videos created, really driving that audience participation. And the story that we like to talk about is the client said to my colleague that the traffic that this campaign generated was bigger than they got on Black Friday last year. So again, if you can actually pull all of the integration together and get all the aspects right, the impact is enormous. They're going to play this amazing sound for you.
ASOS. Hey, show me your ASOS. Drip, drip, give me that beat sauce. Yeah. I wanna see your sea sauce. See me drip, you know I be dripping all the time in my ASOS.
I just don't get bored of that. I could listen to that all day. And this was just a brilliant example of a brand using our full suite of products. So again, you talk about e-commerce, you have the brand side of things, all the awareness that you're driving. But then if you go to an H5 page or you start to support that with collection ads and dynamic showcase ads, then actually you're driving people straight to purchase. So I thought I'd just share you a couple of examples. So it's not just Trevor and I talking.
Amazing. And just so we understand, Joni, I guess what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did ASOS go to TikTok? Did Byte go to TikTok? Did TikTok go to ASOS? Like what was the journey to get to the relationship so that everyone understands? How do people get to you?
Any of those ways. I think in that particular example, it was a perfect trinity, shall we say, with good communication on all sides. But this brings me back to my point about why independent agencies are so important for us, because you can move faster. There are less stakeholders involved. You have more direct access to clients. So that's when we can start to do really exciting campaigns. When ASOS were doing these massive campaigns 18 months ago, this one's more recent, but as early as 18 months ago, you're not going through all the red tape of procedure that you would do with a big six agency. We can be much more dynamic in the way that we work together. In answer to your question in terms of how independent agencies should be working with us, I mean, we have resource for every size agency and every size client. So you potentially go to my team. I run the whole agency team. As you said in my bio, we cover every aspect, big six, large independents, small independents, all of the specialist agencies as well. And I also built out my small but perfectly formed creative agency team at the beginning of the year. And they're engaging with the creative agency community as well, because that's important that, when you guys are booking media behind campaigns, that the ads that are being produced are as good as they can be for the platform and they understand what works on the platform. So we are working with all aspects of the agency industry. Then for smaller clients, there are our growth team, which is more of a direct conversation. And then we also have the SMB side of our business that launched at the beginning of the year. So for every size client agency, there's resource at TikTok to help.
And just for, I guess there's a few agencies on here that probably have reach, not just in the UK, maybe internationally. obviously that TikTok's global. Do your team then facilitate those introductions and relationships to the international community that?
Yeah, so we have an EMEA agency team, we have a global agency team, but anything that is booked out of the UK, that is my team. So we've done some fantastic multi-market campaigns this year. If you look at brands like Levi's and Pepsi Max, that's all come from the UK. So we're always happy to work with brands to help buy in other markets. That's one of the great things about being a global platform.
Yeah. And I guess you've got obviously Creator Fund we've talked about, and that's important investment into the creators. We talked about the big agencies and how they're being supported. For us, very creative and nimble independent guys, how does TikTok measure how well you're doing, or what development looks like and progression looks like to help us see how we sort of grow up the ladder?
So, I mean, to really reinforce how important you are to me, like the team that I have on independent agencies, that's 6 people strong. That's bigger than my Omnicom team, that's bigger than my publicist team, and that's because we recognise how broad and wide that opportunity is. So we really are well staffed to be able to facilitate great work within the independent agencies. I mean, the most rudimental measurement of success for me at the end of the year is how much revenue I've brought in. So hopefully, as we develop our relationships and build deeper partnerships with you guys, then the revenue will reflect that. But I'm conscious that that's only one measurement. So I think the other way that we measure how well we're doing is what kind of great work are we doing? You know, I've just shown you 2 examples today. There's tons of amazing stuff that we're doing. And actually, in answer to your question, you know, how important are you guys and how am I measuring your success? We're doing an agency roadshow in November, which I am so excited about. And we have dedicated a whole day of that week to independent agencies. So date for everybody's diary, the 3rd of November. That is a day that me and my team will be presenting on all things fabulous at TikTok and celebrating all the great work. That's specifically for independent agencies, because we realise how important that is. I think the other measurement of success, other than producing great work, is feedback from you and your teams. We plan to do a external survey next year where we get your thoughts on what we're doing well, but more importantly, what can we do to improve? So, you know, there's loads of resources that we can provide you guys. You go to our website, there's tons of information on there and tutorials. And I think it's really important, actually, you know, this is a great event for us to do, but I think we need to be really careful as well about making sure that you're present in all of the global events we're doing. We have a global event at the end of September where we will be showing our roadmap for all of the new products in 2022. You guys need to be on that event. You need to see all of that information so you have the most up-to-date information to consult with your clients.
And I think a lot of that is going to be pushed on I'm sure Martin or Clive will mention at the end, but I think all of that stuff's being put on the Alliance website.
Fabulous.
You should be careful what you wish for. I know this group quite well, and if you send out a survey, you're going to get a lot of hot questions back. But that's only going to be a good thing, I guess. Changing topics a little bit. There's not a discussion that I guess goes by when you talk about TikTok, or I talk about TikTok when I sit having dinner with parents, friends, agencies, when the subject of privacy doesn't come up. Clearly, it's a massive topic to unpack, and I think there's another event on privacy, isn't there, coming up in September, October, November. Can you share some insights into the sort of plans for how you're focusing on privacy and the landscape's changing, how you're enabling that as a platform? Maybe that's to Trevor.
Yeah, so it's the number one topic. It's actually a topic like privacy or user privacy, although it's baked around brand safety, but it's actually, we think about it as user privacy and user safety is the number one priority for us, whether it's talking to brands or in our product. We've got a range of safety and privacy controls on the platform to make sure that people can make decisions about who they share their content with, We've got really tight community standards and safety controls that make sure that the experience is right for them. We make sure that we are in line with industry standards, and then we're showing ads based on users' activity on TikTok. And we hope that people find that relevant and interesting. People can manage, from an ads perspective, they can manage their personalized ad settings from their profile, and they can make choices about whether they allow ads that are tailored based on third-party data from advertising partners. We want to make sure that from an age perspective, that people are protected, particularly when it comes to teens. So we're always introducing age-appropriate experiences on our platform, and that includes things like making age under 16 accounts private by default, making things like direct messenger turned off for people under 16 and older, and also making sure that parents can guide their teens with their Facebook presence by enabling things like family pairing, so they can obviously keep their eyes on their teenagers. Making sure that we remind people that you have to be 13 and over to be on TikTok, and making sure we're rolling out a parent education program to be able to do that, and again educating parents around that. But ultimately, the responsibility is on ensuring that we have a platform that is safe, and then bringing in moderation practices, reporting mechanisms, everything that you would expect from a platform like us to make sure that people can be safe, but also when things do happen, that they can report those and get those looked at and potentially get those addressed. But it's one of those things that is never over, right? We have to continually iterate and evolve with what's happening on our platform. But I can tell you, we have systems, tools, processes, and people, and investment in all of those things to make sure that TikTok is a safe place for anyone or any user to be able to have a very joyful and creative experience.
And I think, again, there's that privacy forum coming out that people can, it's a big topic to unpack. I assume that's going to be a very lengthy, detailed presentation that we can all go through.
Yeah, I mean, working with third parties to ensure that we are integrated, particularly like parent organisations, media trust, those sorts of things. We need to make sure we are working with the ecosystem that is already well versed in ensuring that it's protecting users of platforms. We are in discussions with those guys, and we are wanting to work very closely with those guys, because we do want TikTok to be a safe platform for people to use those, and we are investing heavily and continue to invest heavily in that. And we've got great tools, but we're always going to be enhancing those tools going forwards.
Yeah. And you said earlier, TikTok's not, it's not about sharing updates, right? It's an entertainment platform. You're passively looking. I've heard the phrase lurker platform, because people aren't necessarily engaging and they're passively browsing. How do you lurker platform? I wouldn't say it's a lurker platform.
We make it very easy for people to create and share content, right? So if anyone wants to create a TikTok, they can. We give them really great tools and resources to be able to do that. We know that it's a sound on platform, so we give them access to lots of sounds and tracks that they can use. We do see a significant amount of people creating TikToks, but if you think about what it's there to do, creators are the lifeblood of our platform. They create the majority of the content that's on there. If you do want to create content, then that's great. We make it very easy for you, but we also want to ensure that we are investing heavily in creators that are continue to upscale the type of content on there. Investing in entertainment. We're also investing in learning. Learning on TikTok is huge. People are seeing things like history lessons, financial lessons, geography, learning about stocks, property advice. I mean, if you open up TikTok, there's just a ton of stuff which is about learning and finding out new and interesting things, as well as entertainment, although entertainment is learning. So yeah, it's all of those things. And whatever the breadth of entertainment that exists outside of TikTok, we want to exist TikTok as well. And also sport. I mean, you talked earlier about our investment in the Euros. The investment in Euros was incredible for a number of things. One, it brought on a much more older demographic to TikTok, but actually it enabled us and users to tell a story that was outside of the 90 minutes. Almost the 90 minutes was almost not irrelevant, but it wasn't the interesting thing. Our campaign is about where fans play. Fans were able to tell their stories of them enjoying football, but also players were able to tell their stories outside of 90 minutes and outside of the training. So again, if you think about brands that are able to articulate themselves in a very different way, you apply that to sport or to any other industry, it allows us to tell unique, authentic and engaging stories that are beyond the actual primary thing. And you'll see us continue to invest in sport and music and entertainment and education.
I've had CV sent to me recently via TikTok, which I think is quite remarkable. Maybe there's a
so we're experimenting with that in some markets where people can submit their applications or CVs to jobs, and why not, right? I mean, watching reading through a flat word document of someone's CV doesn't really tell you anything about that individual, right? Whereas if someone can express themselves authentically through a 15 to 1 minute video, and tell them and showcase why they're the right person, the right candidate to be considered for a job, we just think there's an incredible opportunity for that to exist on our platform.
Yeah, I know the Alliance has talked about that a lot and had lots of sessions on. It's very hard for all companies to hire at the moment, and certainly independents are struggling. So actually, the more you develop that and allow us to figure out where talent is anywhere in the world with different skills is, I think it's a very powerful tool. Something the Alliance is also quite focused on is obviously mental well-being. I read not so long ago the Times saying that social media giants as a whole will first time I'm bucketing you with social media, but just take it for a second as a whole. But being responsible for deteriorating mental health and sleep problems and attention spans, you're quoted as the world's most addictive app. I'd say you're my most addictive app. How are you dealing? They're really serious challenges. How are you dealing with that and protecting your users, creators, brands, consumers' well-being?
Yeah, so, and again, you'd expect us to say this, but I'm going to talk about how we actually doing this. We definitely prioritise and we support the well-being of all of our community members, particularly our younger members. And we want to make sure right from the offset that they're developing positive digital habits very early on. And we're regularly consulting with paediatric experts and youth well-being advocates to develop the policies that we have in this area. So we've done on research to make sure that we can look at things like reducing the time period which our younger users can receive push notifications. Accounts that are 13 to 15 will not receive push notifications from 9 p.m. And accounts that are 16 to 17 will have push notifications disabled at about 10 p.m. I think. We've got a number of features like screen time management that you can be enabled by both the parent and both the account holders as part of the family pairing. If you're scrolling through through TikTok for a while, you may see a video from Cerise Banton that is telling you to take a break because we know that you've been scrolling for a while. And this is all about making sure we are fully committed that there's to safety, privacy, and the well-being of our community. And again, that doesn't stop, right? We're continually working with teen organisations and community organisations and parent organisations and creators to further innovate about how we deliver against that, because there's no finish line. It's something that we continue to have to invest in, and we have a responsibility to ensure that we protect and support the well-being of all of our users, particularly the young people on our platform. Yeah,
super important. You guys have shared some phenomenal insight today. I know we've got a few questions in the chat, which I'll come on to. Just before I come on to the questions, just one last question for you, Trevor, a bit of a personal question, but quite important to the Alliance. I listened to your podcast you did a really good podcast at the top of the year in January for the IAB, and one chunk of it was quite specific about diversity and inclusion. I think from memory you said diversity had improved for the year before, but inclusion hadn't.
Yes.
We're 10 months on. Diversity and inclusion is an important topic that can't be forgotten, and that's obviously a continual thing. Where are we as an industry for how have we developed and how have we matured, in your opinion?
I still maintain the same. So we talk about diversity and inclusion, but they're two separate things, completely separate things, and they should be seen as separate. Diversity is, you can see it's the number of, ultimately it's a numbers game. It's a number of things, but inclusion is the impact they're having and the power they have. So diversity has a lot of people in terms of metrics has been addressed by hiring entry level people, right, or hiring at those more lower levels and being able to impact stats in that sort of way. But if you look at our industry, I mean, I was at a pretty senior event last night. I won't mention what the event it was, but I think there were probably 2 people of colour in that room. We're both on here actually. I've just seen Dino on here. He's on here, but very senior marketers, and there are probably a couple of hundred, and there was only two people of colour and no female people of colour that I saw in the room. And so that's at that senior level. So I think diversity is something which people are talking about, but the whole thing is how can you ensure that women, and if you say, and again, if you look at senior ECDs at creative agencies, or you look at some of the media agencies, at those senior levels, there's a very limited number of women, right? There seems to be a massive drop off from the more entry levels through to those senior levels, and that's before you even talk about like disability and everything else that wraps under that. So we've got a long way to go. If the media industry is there to tell stories that is going to change society and going to change the bulk of our country, then it has to incorporate and reflect that country, and it doesn't. We've got to do a lot better at the inclusion piece, I think. And from the stats I've seen, I think actually because of COVID, the diversity thing might be maybe going backwards. I think because people aren't taking on as much as those entry level roles as they were, and I think the focus on diversity has probably gone on the back burner because people are thinking about just how to stay in business. But I mean they're building businesses that aren't necessarily going to be the ones in the future because they're not thinking about diversity. I mean having a diverse business, I think Accenture and PwC have shown that the most successful businesses are the ones that have people, the most successful businesses are the ones that are able to solve complicated problems. Complicated problems are most served by having diverse thinking around it. If you want to solve simple problems, and having a homogenous group of people that think the same way, very easy to solve. You don't need that. But if you've got big problems and big challenges to solve, which we all have, then you need to have diverse thinking in the room. And that doesn't just mean cognitive diversity. You need to have people from different backgrounds that are very different. So I think there's still a long way to go, and I still have hope, but I don't think we should be patting ourselves on the back.
Yeah, it feels like it's getting tougher at the moment, where hiring needs are going up exponentially because work's coming back and opportunities are coming in, and getting how do you find talent and where is talent, and there's no one, let alone.
Depends what you're hunting, though, right? I mean, when you say there's no one, what are you looking for? If you're looking for what you were looking for before, then of course not. I mean, Havas has just taken on 100 people as part of the government initiative that in trainees, and those people from big backgrounds. We've taken on interns, and I've explicitly said that I want to make sure that those interns a lot of those interns didn't go to college or aren't at university, they're dropouts, and make sure that we are hiring from different types of people. Whereas yeah, that's, if someone says we can't find the talent, it's because they're probably asking the questions they've asked for the last 10 years and hunting in the same pond they've hunted in for the last 10 years. Like, try something different. Try get new talent. If you can't find the talent, find something else.
Yeah,
to redefine talent.
I think that's pretty good advice to end it on there. Thank you. And really grateful for everything that you guys have shared with us today and gone through. Joni, thank you. I suspect your email is going to be flooding tomorrow morning with a whole heap of independent agencies asking lots of different questions. Trevor,
I look forward to it.
Trevor, invaluable advice. Thank you. We do have a couple of questions. I don't know when I get shut off, but I just looking at the chat. I just see that Clive's posted a couple of links to your events, which is really good, and I guess that will be shared. There's a question here from Rochelle Headland. If you can send a CV via TikTok, is there a future in agency presentations to clients being sent via TikTok? Is there an opportunity to be less drab version of LinkedIn that is referral based rather than salespeople hassling you? I think there's 2 questions there.
Potentially.
So my kid just walked in, so I completely got distracted. Let me read that question. If you send a CV on TikTok, is there in future to the clients being sent by it to be less? Potentially, yeah. I mean, yeah. So we're experimenting with extended video lengths, right? So at the moment, there's 3 minutes, which I think is it's gone from 1 to 3 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not announcing anything here. I was speculating. I'm just looking at what's happened in Douyin, which is the TikTok equivalent in China. I wouldn't be surprised if we have extended video length until up to 10 minutes. And that doesn't just mean longer videos. It's a different creative platform, unlocks different types of activity and types of content that you can create on our platform. So I would imagine that if there is an extension of video length, then we can start to do some really interesting things as suggested here.
Yeah. And another question here, can you do regional brand activity, or does all public content go worldwide?
Yeah, you can do regional brand activity. So we have city level targeting now. So you absolutely can do regional targeting. Brilliant.
And I think one last question. What KPIs are typically applied to TikTok brand activity, and how can you measure performance against the metrics? Is there a typical ROI on campaigns?
It very much depends on what type of campaign that you are running. So we have KPIs that can be set for sort of more brand-based measures like traffic, right the way through to sort of more commerce-driving ones and app downloads. So yeah, there's a huge range of KPIs that we can set to run across the campaign, and then you can either have that performance reported back from our teams internally, or on self-serve platform, you can see exactly yourself how the campaign is performing. And again, that's why it's so important to stay close to us as the product develops, because in a couple of months, what you can see now will be massively different in 2-3 months. The platform's developing so quickly. It's very exciting.
Yeah, super cool. I think we could talk for hours. There's so much more to dig into. I think TikTok's a brilliant platform. I can't thank you enough for chatting. I think I'm supposed to hand over to Clive now, who formally has to do.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to, in the 1 minute we have left, I want to thank Daniel very much indeed for chairing this event and the work he's put into it. I'd also like to give a shout out to Francis Stones, who's been instrumental in coordinating everything around bringing Trevor and Joni to us today, as well as Dave and Isabel, who've been there behind the scenes, looking at all the other various areas and giving the right prompts in the right place. And as I've already put in the chat, we are promoting TikTok events and will continue to do so on our website as we build a partnership with the independent agencies community and TikTok. So thank you all very much indeed. You have shown that TikTok is alive and well and very keen to work with independent agencies. It's not just about the top 6, which is really what we've tried to get out of these large platforms, all of whom are seeking revenue, but can see that through the 15,500 independent agencies in this country, there's an awful lot of revenue to be had, and therefore they should not be excluded from these serious conversations. So thank you, Trevor. Thank you, Joni. Thank you very much indeed, Daniel and everybody. And at 6 o'clock, exactly on the spot, I wish you all a very good evening. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Bye.